So there's a video going around on Instagram, I think it makes its rounds every couple years, of a crematory that looks like it caught fire. It made national headlines, and I thought today we could break it down, figure out why that happened, and how it could have been prevented. Hi, I'm Lauren the Mortician. I talk about death and dying, and sometimes cremation ovens that literally go up in flames.
Fire marshal is now ruling in an accident. When it comes to handling obese bodies, management here at the Southside Cremation Company says extra steps are taken to ensure the cremation process goes smoothly. The manager says the worker took all the right steps, but because this particular situation involved a 500-pound body, things took an unexpected turn, one that's never happened in the 20 years he's been in business here.
There was no negligence involved in it. My guys, we did all we could, and there was nothing. Once it started, the grease hit the roof and started the fire. The only thing we could do is dial 911, get the fire department here.
Have you ever handled a body that large before?
Oh yeah, we specialize. Everybody calls us for the large bodies because they don't want this
to happen to them.
They don't want this to happen to it.
Yep. This really happened. A crematory in Virginia caught fire during the cremation of a 500-pound individual. And now, before you say anything, this wasn't about the body. This was about a possible lack of preparation, older equipment, and a chain of things that might not have gone according to plan. So let's talk about how this happened, what cremation actually involves, and how one body turned into a full-blown 4-alarm funeral. All right, so this happened at Southside Cremation Services in Henrico, Virginia. Please forgive me if I said that wrong, but the fire started when the crematory stack got so hot it ignited the rubber roofing around it. 3 employees inside got out safely, and fire crews knocked it down quickly. The operations manager said the man was a little larger than what we had done in the past, which is something you really want to consider before you fire up the retort, not after, but okay. Anyways, cremation takes place in a machine called a retort, which heats to 1600 to 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. An average adult body takes about 2 to 3 hours to cremate, but human fat, it's very, very flammable. Did you know that? Fat is made of triglycerides, which burn hot. More fat means more fuel. More fuel means more heat. And if you're not prepared for that, think of it like a rotisserie chicken, except it's science, it's human, and you absolutely cannot walk away from it. So let's talk about why equipment matters. Modern crematories often use upgraded machines that can detect rising temperatures and adjust airflow or heat cycles automatically. But these older machines, they're basically high-stakes easy-bake ovens. I said it. If no one's watching the heat, adjusting the airflow, or managing the timing, the temperature can spike fast, and heat like that travels. It travels up the smokestack, and in this case, it hit rubber roofing, and boom, fire. Lots of fire. That's not a scandal. It's what happens when outdated equipment meets a situation it wasn't built for. Cremating someone over 350 pounds isn't more difficult, it just requires more planning. First off, the cremation should be scheduled first thing in the morning, when the chamber is still cold, and staff is fresh and focused. You'll need a retort that's wide enough and strong enough to accommodate the individual safely. The flame shouldn't be left on continuously. It should be pulsed to keep the temperature from climbing too quickly. And you have to monitor the airflow throughout the process to stabilize the burn. And most importantly, someone needs to be there the whole time. No set it and forget it. This is not a crock pot. If that sounds like a lot of work, it is, but it's also not optional. So let's talk about the grease fire problem, because here's where things get flammable literally. When cremating someone who's morbidly obese, there's a known risk of a grease fire. That's when body fat liquefies and ignites, creating a flash fire that burns hotter and faster than usual. This isn't disrespectful, it's a known safety concern in the funeral industry. That level of burn can produce thick black smoke, which doesn't necessarily mean the crematory is on fire. But try telling that to the sweet little old lady across the street who just called 911 because your smokestack looks like the Death Star exploded. Let's avoid that phone call because that's just awkward for everybody. Another pro tip is to cremate them at nighttime, because if you do have a little bit of black smoke, then at least you can avoid that phone call from Granny to 911.
Randall, there is a cow outside.
So let's zoom out for a second. About 63% of Americans are overweight or obese, and the number of people classified as morbidly obese has doubled every 5 years. The bodies are getting bigger, the crematories are getting older, and the margin for error hotter than hell and twice as flammable. This isn't about judgment. Let's make that really clear right now. It's about being prepared and making sure facilities evolve with the needs of the people that they serve. So this fire was caught early and put out safely, but if it hadn't been, the fire could have spread through the roof. Other areas of the facility could have been damaged. Human remains, and staff could have been at risk, and toxic smoke could have escaped into the environment. Cremation is safe when done correctly, but when one element gets overlooked, everything can go sideways fast. Crematories are regulated at the state level, but in this case, no one could confirm when this particular facility was last inspected. Like what? And in many states, crematory operators aren't even required to be certified. Did you know that? You could hire anybody off the street to come in, and you don't have to be certified. We just need a warm body. You can legally run a cremation machine in some places with less training than it takes to become a dog groomer. Not saying that's right, just saying that that's real. That's real life. So let's wrap this up. Here's what we learned today. Cremation isn't guesswork, it's science. Body fat isn't necessarily the danger, but lack of planning, outdated equipment, and skipped steps, yeah, that's the problem. This man didn't cause the fire. The fire happened because the system couldn't keep up. It's not a size issue, it's a read the damn manual issue. So, if you enjoyed this deep dive into how not to roast a body or burn down your business, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because here we don't just talk about death, we dissect it, we roast it, and occasionally light it on fire. By accident. Stay curious, stay weird, and please, for the love of OSHA, upgrade your retort. Dang it. Okay, love you. See you next time. Bye-bye.